A school district superintendent sits in a courtroom ready to submit her formal plea after she's accused of covering up sexual abuse involving student athletes.
Can you not walk me in cuffs through my entire workplace? Can we walk out the back door?
What happens next for this educational leader as the whirlwind investigation continues? And will this lead to a domino effect within the executive board? We're on the case presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Well, we have some new developments to get to regarding a shocking scandal that is rocking a Washington state community as the Longview School District superintendent appears in court this week for a second time. I want you to remember, because we covered this case a short time ago, this superintendent is alleged to have covered up some very serious crimes at Mark Morris High School involving student athletes, alleged hazing and alleged sexual assault. Frankly, too graphic to lay out word for word. And I want you to keep in mind that there are two students who ended up getting arrested in connection to this. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. But let's get to what happened this week. On Wednesday, 58-year-old Karen Cloninger appeared in court for her arraignment in plain clothes after posting a $5,000 bail just a day after her arrest back in May. Now, at the hearing, she entered a formal plea, and that plea was not guilty to a felony charge of tampering with a witness and two misdemeanor charges of failure to report and obstructing a law enforcement officer. And there's more information from the hearing that we have learned, including when Cloninger is set to go on trial. And there's some new details about the prosecution's case. But this case is not just unfolding inside the courtroom. In fact, the investigation is far from over. There have been several decisions already made by the Longview School District that have had a direct impact on Cloninger, along with other key leadership personnel within the district. And those decisions have posed several questions. Is this superintendent allegedly the only one at fault? Or is she just the first domino to fall? We're going to get more into this unfolding aftermath shortly, but I want to break down how we got here because the alleged details are truly horrific every step of the way. This all begins on the evening of January 28th. A student contacted the Mark Morris male basketball team's head coach, Ken Kelly, reporting that a varsity player rubbed their bare genitals on his water bottle. Now, the following morning, January 29th, the head coach allegedly contacted the high school's vice principal, Paul Beckel, prompting an internal investigation consisting of several interviews with other players, including two alleged victims who were freshmen on the junior varsity team. Now, some of the alleged notes from the vice principal's investigation are included in Longview Police Department's probable cause affidavit. Quote, the notes detailed an interview with John Doe 2 that took place on January 29th, 2026, when he described seeing John Doe 1 come out of the team room looking shaken up and with red marks all over from people grabbing him. John Doe 1 also disclosed details about his own assault where he had been dragged into the varsity team room by multiple upperclassmen. He had been forced to the ground, pinned down, and had his pants pulled down. The two upperclassmen also attempted to pull his underwear down, then slapped his butt a couple of times. The notes also detailed an interview with John Doe 1, where he described a similar situation. He described being forcibly dragged into the Mark Morris High School's varsity team room by two upperclassmen. He said, quote, one time I was in there and they pulled their pants down and twerked on me against the wall and it hurt my back. Now, twerking is defined as a dance style that involves rapidly shaking, jiggling, and thrusting the hips and buttocks. It is often performed in a low, squatting stance over a bent-over position. John Doe 1 also said, quote, one time they pinned me down and they took turns rubbing their butt on my face. He went on to describe another incident. He said, quote, another thing that happened in there, a student had biofreeze once, a spray bottle. Before practice, they had been hinting at me all day that they were going to do something. So they pulled me in there and put biofreeze on my butt. The vice principal asked, "Who is they?" The student then mentioned two different players. The vice principal asked, "They put biofreeze in your butt?" The student answered, "Yes." The vice principal asked, "They have you pinned?" The student answered, "You can't do much. I usually just close my eyes." Now, as a side note, biofreeze is a menthol-based topical solution that typically is used to soothe minor joint aches, but it's also supposed to be used on the external skin. So any internal use, especially to sensitive areas, could lead to severe burning, stinging, even chemical irritation. So clearly, these are some very serious allegations being brought forth by these JV players. And, when it goes to what is being alleged here, this is not just hazing. Hazing is not good. It is never accepted. But this is beyond that. And this is in a different stratosphere than just giving a younger player a hard time. We're into the territory of sexual assault. So at this point, the vice principal allegedly gets the principal of the school involved, Aaron Whitwright. So here is what the principal allegedly told police. Quote, "We asked Aaron when he had been made aware of these details of the Mark Morris High School investigation. He explained he had been privy to the full detail from the beginning. He explained that he had either spoken with Paul about the interviews that had taken place or he had directly sat in on the interviews. We asked about the previously mentioned conversation between he, Andrew Schoonover, the executive director of student services, and the high school's resource officer, SRO Go. He confirmed that minimal detail lacking important context had been provided to the SRO and confirmed no formal written report or notes had been given to the SRO to review. During the conversation with Aaron, we eventually asked him if, given the totality of the circumstances, we could agree that the case had not been handled appropriately. And he said, quote, "I can't necessarily say that because I was consulting with my superintendent, Karen, and Andy Schoonover." Now remember, a school resource officer is in most cases a sworn law enforcement officer employed by the local police department, and they are considered a mandatory reporter, meaning they are required to inform police about any suspected child abuse or neglect happening on campus. And in most cases, coaches, principals, superintendents, and other executive leadership members are also considered mandatory reporters. So, according to police, it appears several members of the high school's leadership team were privy to this sexual abuse investigation since at least January 29th, and they allegedly made a conscious decision to keep the school resource officer essentially in the dark on the most important details, allegedly. So I want to go to February 4th now, and that's where police say there was a conversation between the vice principal, Paul Beckel, the principal, Aaron Whitwright. You have the executive director of communications and operations for the school district, Eric Parrish, and then Superintendent Karen Cloninger. So here is what the vice principal allegedly told police. Quote, "Paul explained he, Aaron, and Rick had been in Aaron's office together and Karen had been on speakerphone. Paul corroborated his notes, which stated as follows: met with Rick Parrish and Aaron Whitwright, spoke to Karen Cloninger on the phone, discussed mandatory reporting, and was informed we are not obligated to call at this point. Asked again for Mark Morris High School and district communication to teachers, families, and was told no. Asked for a stand-up meeting for our staff again and was told no." He allegedly admitted to police that leadership did not disclose enough information about the sexual assault claims to the school resource officer in order for him to make an informed decision on mandatory reporting. Quote, "I eventually asked Paul what would have happened if he had opted to report to law enforcement sooner against what Karen was directing him to do. He explained he certainly would have been formally disciplined and feared he would have lost his job. He also believed, based on Karen's comments to them, that Aaron was potentially at risk of losing his job as well. They feared if they did not, quote, figure this out and, quote, do it right, they would be fired." Police also interviewed the executive director of communications and operations for the school district, someone named Eric Parrish, and here is what he had to say. Quote, Rick explained on February 4th, 2026, Karen had directed him to go to Mark Morris High School to speak with Aaron, the principal, and Paul, the vice principal. She had directed him to get messaging out regarding this investigation. Once Rick got to MMHS and spoke with Aaron and Paul, he realized the details of the investigation seemed to be much worse than what Karen had relayed. He called Karen and expressed feeling, quote, blindsided, and told her it seemed, quote, different and bigger than what you had told me. He told Karen he thought they should get the school district's attorney, Parker, involved. Karen told Rick to stand down and that she would call him back in a moment when she had made it back to her office. And a short time later, Karen called back and directed Rick to put the phone on speakerphone so that he, Paul, and Aaron could all hear what she was about to say. And she told them, quote, look, guys, we're not going to put anything in writing on this, which was directly contradictory with what she had sent Rick to MMHS to do. She then directed Paul and Aaron to call the parents involved and relay to them that they had done an investigation and had taken appropriate disciplinary steps. She then told them, quote, we're not calling any attorney because I'm not going to be told to do something I don't want to do. She followed that with, quote, look, guys, at this point, social media has already got rumors going. Tell the kids on the team we don't want any more rumors. Don't talk about this. She then followed that by saying, quote, Aaron, you better figure this out. You better do it right because this is a career killer. Rick explained that Aaron stood up and physically kicked the desk out of frustration. Rick said he went back to the district office and went into Karen's office. He told Karen, based on his experience, it seemed like there was, quote, some sort of hazing going on and it could be systemic. He said Karen became visibly frustrated and went on to lecture him about the definition of systemic. She then told him it was not hazing and, quote, I don't want you using that word. Quote, Rick went on to explain that over the following days, he had felt very uneasy about the school's investigation, the transparency of information, and the way it was being handled, but was suppressed and dismissed by Karen each time he mentioned anything. He said Karen went as far as telling him his intensity toward her about this investigation was too much and was, quote, off-putting. He explained that over the following days and weeks, tension rose between him and Karen. He said Karen made it clear she was upset with him for sharing information with law enforcement after the formal law enforcement investigation had begun and began treating him like the, quote, enemy. He explained he was shut out of conversations from then on and feared he would lose his job at any moment. So, wow, at this point, it is alleged that none of the staff members involved in this investigation are taking matters to law enforcement, but behind the scenes, police say the JV players began discussing the sexual assault allegations in a group chat, and it became widely published on social media. So eventually, the police department gets wind of all of this. In fact, quote, Longview Police Chief Robert Huda and Captain Brandon McNew reached out directly to Karen Cloninger on February 5th, 2026. They discussed rumors that were going on around social media about a sexual assault and asked if law enforcement were needed for anything. Karen responded by saying there had been an incident that had been investigated and handled internally, end quote. So according to the affidavit, Longview Police would not actively be involved in the investigation until 4 days later on February 9th, after one of the student victim's parents directly reported his son's alleged sexual assault to the school resource officer. Now, also that same day, it was circulating on social media that students at the high school were planning a mass walkout over how staff were handling the investigation. Now, before I get into the details of February 9th and onward, I want to jump back one day to February 8th. That is because police were already investigating a separate incident involving firearm threats at the high school, And they actually came to the campus. Quote, during my brief conversation with the school resource officer, it was apparent he did not have substantial details related to any active or completed sexual assault investigation. The officer informed me, although he was familiar, that some students from the boys basketball team had been recently disciplined relating to conduct, he was unaware of any specific criminal actions that were alleged to have occurred. Due to my unfamiliarity with the SRO and school's discipline process, I asked the SRO to inform me how it typically works inside the school. The officer confirmed that typically the school will handle most investigations internally and only notify law enforcement if school administration deems it necessary as needed or should they need additional resources. So here is, according to police, direct proof the SRO allegedly was in the dark on the most crucial details of the investigation. He was aware that at least 4 players were suspended from it, but now he is about to learn the gravity of these allegations. Now back to the next day, February 9th, when a parent's report comes in. The SRO interviews one of the JV victims who provides a far more detailed account of the alleged abuse, claiming it had been occurring since the beginning of the basketball season, roughly 3 months earlier. The student also tells the officer that he had already been interviewed by school staff about the incidents during the week of January 26th through the 30th. This interview with the JV victim and the SRO marks the beginning of Longview Police's official criminal investigation. By February 11th, detectives had arranged forensic interviews with both primary student victims at the Children's Justice Center to get the full scope of these allegations of sexual assault. On February 19th, police said they had enough probable cause to arrest 2 of the student basketball players on charges, including second-degree rape, unlawful imprisonment with sexual motivation, indecent liberties, and indecent exposure. And we will get into the latest with those cases here in a moment. But also within days of these forensic interviews, detectives executed search warrants at Mark Morris High School and the Longview School District offices. They seized phones, computers, and investigative records from administrators. By this point, detectives believed that they were not simply investigating what happened inside the varsity team room. They were now investigating whether school leadership actively failed to report the allegations and attempted to control how the investigation unfolded. Now, we have already gone through police interviews with key staff members throughout the months-long investigation into the alleged cover-up. So here is the other part of it: the alleged evidence found on Cloninger's devices. Quote, as I was reviewing the Cellbrite extractions, I came across many chat messages that showed they were recovered from deleted. I would later confirm this by hand searching the phone to include verifying tons of deleted messages on both devices. Further, I would recover many of the deleted messages and confirm many of them were as reported in the Cellbrite extraction. It should be noted, there are significant messages and emails that were visible during the search of Karen Cloninger's devices that confirmed these devices, along with other administrators' devices, were used for communication related to not only Longview Public School District business, but their investigation and handling into the allegations associated with the case. Now, based off the above information, it appears Karen Cloninger is conducting Longview School District business related messages on her devices and emails and likely deleting public information. Now, those are very strong words. Fast forward to May 21st, and police have enough probable cause to arrest Karen Cloninger, which takes place right in her office. Here's how that went through police body camera footage.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hanging in there.
Go ahead and set your phone on the table. I'll be sure around for your hands on your back.
You and I will just walk her out. Yeah.
Those feel too tight.
I think they're okay. Can I ask what I'm being charged with?
Yep, I will tell you here in just 1 second. Okay.
Can I get my attorney on the phone?
You'll have an opportunity to make a phone call.
Because I don't have that number memorized, and I'll need my phone to call.
I didn't say I was taking your phone.
Do you think I'm going to resist and not be able to walk out of this office without my cuffs?
We have procedures now. I don't believe you are resisting. I didn't say you were.
Okay.
So go ahead and step to your left here, and I'll get the document out real quick, and we'll read to you the exact charges. So. Karen, you are being arrested today for tampering. Oh, sorry. Tampering with a witness, failure to report, and obstructing a law enforcement officer. So,
Ready?
my partner here is going to escort you out, and you're going to
go this way.
to the jail. We're going to be
Okay.
back, okay? We'll
Okay.
coordinate your property.
Am I not able to take my phone so I can call my attorney?
Your phone can go with you. These are your
Here.
phones?
Yes, I
Which
don't
one do
need
you
the
want?
work phone. I just need
Work
my...
phone, personal?
Yes.
I'll take
Personal
that.
can go with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
All right.
Like a wallet, purse, anything like that, personal.
I do have a purse in my office.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I allowed to take that?
We can grab that. Yeah.
Can Andrew, can you not walk me in cuffs through my entire workplace? Can I have Andrew go get my purse and bring it to me?
I'll go
And
with
can we
Andrew.
walk out the back door?
That's it.
Thank you. Can I have you go get Karen Joy real quick, please?
No.
I don't think
Abs-
Karen Joy...
actually-
Ma'am,
I
Ma'am.
wanted to call my husband. I just wanted to.
I don't think Karen Joy needs to be over here right now.
Purse. Thank you.
You will have the ability to make that.
Is he on this side? Yeah, she's in custody.
Longview, can you log one in custody?
Let's pull him to this side.
You were really broken
We'll
out.
walk out there. All right, Karen.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Cloninger is brought outside through a back door as they head to the squad car.
Okay.
Is there anything on you I should be aware of now?
No,
Anything that's completely stupid and hurt me?
no, nothing. I have nothing in my pockets.
I understand.
We still have to search though.
Just as proceed.
This is recorded. Okay. And there's two of us here
Everything
to.
is being audio and visually recorded.
Okay.
Are you just wearing these trousers? Like, there's no underpants.
Like you don't have any pockets underneath, do you? Okay. I'll switch you.
I'm not going to check, but the jail will ask, you have nothing concealed in your body. So they will check.
Yes.
Take a seat for me, ma'am. I just have to see both of you then.
Cuffs are,
They're tight.
they're a little tight.
Okay, let me buck you and I'll take a look. Alright. Actually, I should have did that. Alright, so just turn and face that way. Like, just rotate your body so I can look at your cuffs. I know it's a little awkward. Okay, which one? I wonder if it's your bracelets. Is it this one? Or the other one? Okay.
I think I'll be okay.
So I can get 2 fingers in there. I understand they're not the most comfortable thing, especially with this seat, but
As far as the phone call goes, like to your attorney, the jail should let you go through your phone to get that phone number if you need it. Okay. And then you can make that phone call. Okay. You good?
I'm good.
Now, after Cloninger was arrested, she was placed on paid administrative leave. But as of Monday, the Longview School Board voted unanimously to change that to unpaid leave as the investigation and legal process continues to unfold. The school district's acting superintendent explained their decision to do that with the following statement, saying in part, quote, Longview School District seeks to establish a clear and complete understanding of what occurred, how the matter was handled, and what steps may be necessary to strengthen student safety measures. At the heart of every action is our responsibility to provide a safe, supportive learning environment for all students. As for Cloninger's case, she waived her right to a speedy trial at her arraignment, which was on Wednesday. Her case is now set to go on trial on October 19th of this year. Also in the arraignment, we learned the prosecution's witness list includes at least 50 people so far, all of which Cloninger is barred from contacting. According to a report from the Columbian, those witnesses include the Longview Police Chief, the Longview Student Resource Officer, MMHS Assistant Principal Paul Beckel, the alleged student assault victims, along with the victims' relatives. Cloninger is due back in court for a pretrial hearing on July 29th. Now, you might be asking yourself, will anyone else, based off everything we just talked about, is anyone else going to be facing charges in this situation? According to the Longview Police Department, they announced the Executive Director of Student Services, Andrew Schoonover, is also expected to face charges, including failure to report and making a false or misleading statement to a public servant. As of right now, the Longview School District says at least 3 other staff members were placed on administrative leave in the midst of this investigation, in addition to Cloninger and Schoonover. Now, as for those 2 students arrested on the rape charges, KATU Television reports one of their trials is set to begin July 13th, with the other case set to stand trial in January of next year. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law&Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and we're also now streaming on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.